never thought the sound of laughter could hurt. That night, it did. I stood in the hallway, still wearing my work shirt, grease on my hands, while my wife and her friends sat around our dining table. The smell of roasted chicken and wine drifted through the doorway. I'd barely taken a step inside when she turned her head and said, "Oh, honey, it's just the girls tonight. You wouldn't really fit in." She smiled, polite, dismissive, like a teacher excusing a student from class. Her friends looked at me, then back at her, waiting for my reaction. I nodded, mumbled something about needing a shower, and walked out before anyone could see the sting on my face. In our 5 years together, Claire had never talked to me like that before. But lately, she'd changed, colder, sharper. She'd gotten a promotion, started dressing differently, hanging out with new colleagues. I told myself she was just evolving, growing into her new life. I didn't realize I was quietly being written out of it. I ate leftover pasta in the kitchen while they laughed in the other room. Every burst of laughter felt like another door closing. I washed my plate, sat by the window, and listened to the muffled sound of voices until silence finally settled over the house. When I went to bed, she was already asleep, her back turned, her phone face down on the nightstand. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. "You should go fishing this weekend," she said while scrolling through her phone. "I'll be out with the girls again." That was when I realized it wasn't an invitation, it was a hint. She wanted space, or maybe distance, maybe both. I didn't argue. I packed my fishing gear, but I didn't go anywhere. Instead, I stayed home, trying to understand when the line between love and tolerance had blurred. I checked her social media. Photos of last night's dinner were already up. The caption read, "Strong women surround themselves with stronger women." There I was in the background of one photo, blurry, standing in the hall. Someone had commented, "Who's the guy in the corner?" She'd replied with a laughing emoji. That comment looped in my head for days. It wasn't the laughter that hurt. It was the erasure. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was the punchline to a story she told her friends. A week later, Claire hosted another dinner. Same group of friends, same wine, same careful avoidance of eye contact. Except this time, one of her friends, Megan, noticed me lingering by the kitchen door. "Hey, why don't you join us for dessert?" she said, smiling. Claire stiffened. "Megan, he's fine. He doesn't really do these things." Megan looked at her, then at me. "He's your husband, Claire. He can sit for 10 minutes. It was such a simple thing, but in that moment, it felt like someone had opened a window in a room I'd been suffocating in. I sat down, awkward at first, but Megan kept the conversation easy. She asked me about my work, my hobbies, the fishing trips I didn't go on. Claire didn't say much. Her eyes stayed glued to her glass of wine. When Megan laughed at one of my stories, a small, genuine sound, Claire's expression changed. I saw something flicker across her face. Irritation, maybe even fear. After the others left, she was quiet. Then she said, "You really enjoyed yourself tonight, didn't you?" I shrugged. "I just talked. You told me I didn't fit in. Remember?" She didn't answer. She went upstairs, and for the first time I didn't follow. I sat alone at the table, staring at the empty plates and lipstick-stained glasses, wondering how something that once felt like home had become so alien. The next day, Megan texted me. She'd found my number from the group chat Claire once made. "Sorry if I crossed a line," she wrote. "I just thought it was unfair how she talks to you." I didn't know what to say. "It's fine," I replied. "I'm used to it." "You shouldn't be," she wrote back. Over the next few days, we exchanged a few polite messages. Nothing inappropriate, just empathy from one person to another. But empathy can be dangerous when you're starving for it. Claire noticed the shift before I did. One evening she confronted me. "Are you texting Megan?" I hesitated, which was enough. She snatched my phone, scrolled, and froze. Nothing scandalous, but her silence said more than words. "You're unbelievable," she whispered. "Flirting with my friend?" I laughed bitterly. "Flirting? You called me worthless a week ago." Her eyes welled up, but not with regret. With anger. "You're twisting everything. You've always been too sensitive. That word again, sensitive. The one people use when they want to justify cruelty. I grabbed my keys and left before I said something I'd regret. I drove aimlessly, the city lights blurring past. My phone buzzed. Megan again. "Are you okay?" she asked. I pulled over, stared at the message and typed back, "Not really, but I will be." When I got home, Claire was waiting in the living room. Her suitcase was packed. "I'm staying at my sister's," she said. "I need space." I nodded. "Take all the space you need." She paused at the door. "You'll regret this cold act someday." "Maybe," I said, "but at least it's honest." 2 weeks passed without a word. Then, out of nowhere, Megan messaged again. "Can we talk?" We met at a cafe. She told me Claire had been ranting about me, calling me petty and controlling. "Honestly," Megan said, "everyone's starting to see who she really is." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The truth had already done its work. A month later, Claire returned, suitcase in hand, eyes softer. "Maybe we rush things," she said. "Maybe we can fix it." But something inside me had shifted. I looked at her and saw not the woman I'd married, but the woman who'd told me I wasn't worth sitting at her table. "I think you're right," I said. "We did rush things. Back then. When we thought love was enough." She didn't argue. She just stood there, realizing too late that silence can be more final than anger. When she left, I sat at the same table where it all began. The laughter that once haunted me was gone, replaced by a quiet that finally felt peaceful. Megan's words echoed in my mind. "You shouldn't be used to it." For the first time in years, I wasn't. And that was enough.